So the first topic I want to cover is something that is really, really close to my heart, and it's to do with people with disabilities. This is the main area where I want to work in the future, where I want to focus my clinical work is with people with disabilities. I'd never wanted to work with people with disabilities. It had never occurred to me. I didn't really know anyone with a disability. I just sort of wanted to work with children. But then I went to a summer camp for children and adults with disabilities, and I worked there, and like from the second day of training, I just knew that that's what I wanted to do, and that feeling hasn't gone away since. So something that's very close to my heart is person first language, not using the or word, and empowering people with disabilities. So firstly, person first language is a very basic concept. Instead of saying, for example, autistic person, you say person with autism. Just like if someone had cancer, you wouldn't say, oh, she's a cancer person. You don't want to define someone based on one characteristic. Another reason why I believe in person first language is because it's more of a sign of respect to the person. They're not just categorized. People have different elements of their personality, different challenges to face in life. Everyone has different strengths and weaknesses, and obviously everyone's going to have had different difficulties, the same as in a typically developing population. And seeing someone as a person first and not just a disability label is going to help you to appreciate where they've come from, where they want to go, and hopefully treat them with respect, which in turn will empower someone, which is sort of the next point, I guess. Person first language isn't just about person with whatever. It's also about, if someone needs assistance with eating, and so you need to cut up their food for them and put it on a fork so they can put it in their mouth and chew it, you don't want to say, I'm feeding that person. If they're like 12 years old and they could be fully cognitively aware but just not have the physical ability to move their hand like holding a fork of food to put it in their mouth, you don't want them to hear that they're being fed. Like that's a term that we use when we talk about babies, I'm feeding them. So a better term is like, oh, I'm eating with them. So the next thing is the or word, and this is something that just really upsets me. It never would have before I went to camp. I didn't use the word myself. I still used person first language before I went to camp because I trained as a speech and language therapist. But the or word, it's being used so much these days. And I know, like, I've talked to my friends that would use it, and a lot of them think like, they are saying, but I'm not saying it in front of someone with a disability, how could it hurt them? Or, but I don't feel that way about people with disabilities. I just think, there's no harm in saying the word. But there actually really is. Even if someone without a disability isn't around, your words sort of create images in people's minds. So if you're saying, I slipped and I fell over, I'm such a or word, like it's sort of denoting being like or word as something really stupid or silly, something embarrassing, something you don't want to be, which is not nice to hear about yourself or to hear about maybe a loved one. And besides that, if you were saying that in a group of people and no one had anything to do with anyone with a disability, it's sort of ingraining in their minds, or word equals stupid, silly, foolish, and they'll like subconsciously think of that when they see or talk to someone with an intellectual or physical disability. They'll think they're stupid, which obviously isn't fair. There's lots of different words you can use instead of the or word, and it's sort of a simple vocabulary change that will potentially mean a lot to someone, or at least not going to hurt someone. And if you can avoid hurting someone, I don't know why you wouldn't do that for like just a simple step as trying not to say a certain word. So if you want any further information, I'm going to leave the links down below. Probably the most well-known one would be Spread the Word to End the Word. Thanks for watching.